Hello and welcome to the Alpha Movement Podcast. My name is Tom Foxley, and on today's show we are joined by Mr. Brandon Clift. Now, Brandon is a very successful entrepreneurial type in the fitness industry. He runs a business called Zone, and it's a really good transformation center, I think is the right way to put it, based in the east coast of Australia. But it hasn't always been plain sailing for him. It hasn't always been easy. So this is a kind of a delve into the trials and tribulations of everything from very early entrepreneurship, so selling avocados off his grandfather's farm, I think, and we also go through his life as a gymnast, a very high level gymnast at that, and also his expedition into fitness modelling. So say hello to Brandon Clift. Feel free to reach out to him on Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, and enjoy the show. So welcome to the show, Brandon Clift. How are you doing?
Mate, feeling really well. It was what, I think it's top 23 degrees today in the middle of winter on the Gold Coast, and the surf was, it was okay, but for the most part, man, just a beautiful day. So lucky to live here.
You're making me jealous. It's sunny here, but not a wave in sight. So let's start off by just giving a quick kind of intro to where you are now and what you do, and kind of a bit more about who is Brandon Clift.
Sure thing. So basically, genius billionaire playboy philanthropist. Now, my name is Brandon Clift. I am 23 years old. I am half Australian, half American, but born and raised on the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. The most beautiful place in the world. I go between here and Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is my second home. I have a small fitness business at the moment that I started in January, so about 5 months ago, and it is, it's kicking butt. It's pretty much growing at a pace that I'm really just learning how to handle. So I'm absolutely loving the journey with that. Spending most of my time in the community, really trying to connect with most of the local people on the coast, because I believe our town just has such a beautiful heartbeat to it, and just an amazing rhythm. And yeah, just student of life, just trying to soak up and learn as much as possible so I can educate this naive brain of mine. And yeah, just looking to make really solid connections as I move on to my latest one.
Cool. So it's the evening where you are now, and I was wondering whether you've got any routines that you follow in the evening or the morning that set you up for success.
Massively. So before my head hits the pillow, I know exactly what I'm doing the next day. I utilize a journal called the Self Journal by a company called Best Self Co. I believe you have one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah. Oh man, it's amazing. Absolute game changer. So the second that came into my midst, that is a morning and evening routine for sure. It allows me to recap the day. It allows me to acknowledge all the little wins and the lessons that I've learned throughout that day. So journaling in any capacity is just amazing. I always make sure to read until my eyes shut, because I believe an hour of reading is more important than an hour of extra sleep. And that's my evening routine. And in the morning, it's very much the same. I kind of tap on the notes that I made the night before for that day in my journal, have a coffee, do a little bit of light reading, work out, and basically hit the day.
Nice. How do you prioritize what you're going to be doing during the day?
I prioritize basically the thing I least want to do. I make sure to get that done in the early hours, because if I leave it till after lunch, I generally won't get it done. So I kind of like to eat the bullfrog in that sense, or pull the Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I particularly found interesting about your story is the fact that it hasn't been a linear success story, and that's like in 99% of the cases that's true, but you don't really hear about it as much. So I wanted to start off with I heard you speaking about in a previous interview about your like kind of early expeditions into entrepreneurship, and when you were, I think was it cleaning cars? Was that the first one?
Yeah, I had a car cleaning business. It was a pretty big gig. You know, I was 10 years old. It was called Charismatic Car Cleaning.
Nice.
And I used to go down the street and knock on doors and tell people their cars were dirty. And
what a salesman!
I used to get a buddy of mine, Jack. What up, Jack? He used to throw dirt on them. Oh my god, I still have the same neighbours. I live in the same street, so I'm sorry if you guys are listening.
Well, Jack should be sorry.
It was Jack, actually. I had nothing to do with that. He just liked throwing dirty cars. So I used to go in and tell him the cars were dirty. Give them a clean, probably make them end up looking worse than when they started. But, I'd make like $2 out of each car, and I mean, for a 10-year-old, that was plenty. I mean, that's a lot of Lego after a hard day's work, so I was able to get stuck into that. And, as I got older, I was always looking for ways to make a bit of dough. My granddad had a farm, and he used to have avocado trees, so I used to get my billy cart and walk down the street and sell avocados for like 80 cents a pop. And, avocados on the coast are like $3 each, so man, that's when I first started to see like proper dollar bills in my hand. And, that too went to Lego, but it was my first kind of little endeavor and gave me a taste of what entrepreneurial life was like.
Were your, or other members of your family quite entrepreneurial?
Yes, actually, both my folks are very entrepreneurial. My mum, my mum's an amazing woman. She's a trailblazer, man. That woman's cut her own path. From the age of 16, I think she dropped out of school and started designing clothing and just went out and tried to learn from the absolute best in the industry. And, she's been very successful ever since. I mean, I know that when, my mum had my older two siblings, she was single. She had my brother and sister from a past marriage, and she was up at night till like 3 a.m. designing gowns and uniforms. And just working her absolute tail off, and man, she's had every setback thrown her way, but I've never seen her flinch. So to this day, she still designs. She travels around the world and gets clothing from all sorts of amazing places, and she has been an absolute inspiration to me.
Excellent. And what about your dad?
My dad?
Yeah.
Man, my dad's he's just got the absolute charisma and kind of like that entrepreneurial spirit. I've learned a lot about sales from him, because that guy can literally sell snow to Eskimos. He is amazing. So dad has his fingers in a couple pies, but he's taught me a lot about selling with integrity and making sure that it's always a mutually beneficial exchange when doing the deal. So I'm very lucky to have the role models that I do.
So what was it like growing up in that house then? Like, what was a typical day like for you?
Ooh, I don't know. I spent most of my time in the naughty corner.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I had a lot of ADD, and my parents were so busy that it was kind of like they're trying to figure out ways to harness that energy, and it was pretty rough road for a little while there.
So when did health and fitness kind of come into this, into your life?
I've always been health conscious. When I was a kid, I was, understandably my folks always had their hands full with what they were doing. So, when I was a kid, I was just eating anything out of the cupboards that I could. And I used to eat a loaf of white bread a day.
Yeah, I've been there.
I was actually getting very unhealthy, and it got to a point where I was taken to a doctor and did some tests, and I had the blood, I believe, of a 62-year-old, I think it was. It was nasty business, and they said, look, unless you do something about your health right now, something you can expect pretty bad things to happen. And I was like, I think I was 9 or 10, so my folks enrolled me in gymnastics, and I used to come home to carrot sticks and celery.
Excellent. So do you remember your first session in gymnastics?
Yeah, I got kicked out.
What was that for?
The second I saw the foam pit, I just sprinted through the gym and jumped in head first, and a guy was dismounting on the high bar, and he landed and basically with me between his legs.
Strong effort. That's a bold entry to any situation.
Oh man, I saw that thing and I was like, I knew my life's purpose, and it was to play in foam pits and do flips.
So how did it kind of go from that point, and how did you get to, because I know this, but the listeners don't, that you got to a very high standard in gymnastics.
Yeah, not from that age. I kind of like dabbled in it, but I ended up having to leave gymnastics just because of my behavior. I was just a bit too naughty. And, so I didn't do any sport for a little while, until I was about 13, I started rowing. But the thing about rowing only goes for, 5 months. So out of season, I just had all this energy and didn't know what to do with it. So when I was about 14, I got back into gymnastics. They let me back in with it. That was a really awkward conversation because it was the same coach. And, at that time, Tom, I didn't have many friends. I was quite an insecure kid, very outgoing and very boisterous, but I found myself getting into trouble because of that. I think people, just didn't know how to take me because I personally didn't know how to take me. Mm. And so I just absorbed myself in gymnastics. I think, every week it was about 30 to 38 hours of training. And, by the time I was 18, I was very fortunate to be a part of the Australian gymnastics team. By default, because someone got injured, but hey, you can't take that away.
You still have to put in the years of hard work before there to get to that point.
Yeah. I mean, there was no lack of hard work, but maybe a little bit of lack of talent. But hey,
how often were you?
Those scales.
How often were you training at that point?
Oh, at that point, I was a gymnastics season goes all year. Especially if you qualify for, state or national championships, you don't stop. So, I mean, every week, every day it was usually 2-3 hours in the morning and 2-3 hours in the evening.
And what kind of kept you motivated at that point?
Probably the responsibility. I was awarded, gymnastics captain. And that was my kind of first time in a leadership position. So I felt like I had a responsibility, especially to the younger fellas, to kind of represent what they should look up to, which, in my opinion, was kind of off. Like, I wasn't really setting the best example. Train recklessly, do ridiculous hours, don't sleep, don't study, just focus purely on gymnastics. But, I was just doing the best with the knowledge that I had. So the motivation factor for me, was just beat the next person in my gym because everyone was better than me when I started. So I pretty much set up a list in my head of who the guys were that were better than me. In each competition, I just tried to knock them off. Yeah,
that works. That definitely works. So in your in your gymnastics career, what was your coach like, or did you have a particular coach that stood out?
My coach was amazing. The thing I love about my coach Glenn was he was the same coach I had when I started, and he was the same coach that picked me out. Mm. And I know that on my when they awarded me gymnastics captain, he started the whole speech with, "I deemed this kid uncoachable."
Good stuff. Yeah, it's
I was so proud.
Yeah, I bet. To go from coachable to captain is a huge achievement. Okay, and then, is there any particular story that you remember from that, either from competition or from training?
I think one of the most important moments in my gymnastics career was at my first national championships. I was leading into the competition. I was the favourite because my scores to qualify were the highest by quite a margin. And I went into that competition just an absolute head case. I was putting way too much pressure on myself. I was spending way too much time thinking about everything that could go wrong. And at the national championships, you have 2 days of competition, one after the other, and you do the exact same routines on each day. And on the first day, I had it in my head that I was going to win, and I fell on 3 separate apparatus, which at the end of the day left me 11th place out of about 30. So I felt pretty filthy at that point. But the next day, my attitude changed. I thought, well, you know what? I've lost my chance to join the Australian team. I don't have the ability to make it up, so I'm just going to enjoy being in my nation's capital at the Australian Institute of Sport. I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to get to know other gymnasts and just enjoy it. Well, I ended up winning the second day with that attitude, and that put me in second place. So that did lead me in the Australian team, which was great fun. I mean, that was just a real lesson for me, just to not sweat the small stuff. And, if you put in the hard work, there's nothing else you can do. So just, keep your head in the game, but don't overthink things.
Is there any particular lesson that Glenn taught you that stands out?
Yeah. The one thing I remember more than anything, and the thing I loved about Glenn the most, was he identified in a person like myself that you have to be really straight and to the point and not beat around the bush. And, I remember one day I was just being an idiot or saying something stupid, and he goes, "Brandon, don't be an F-wit." And to hear that from someone that I really respected, I was like, wow, that really hits home. I wish I had some Any Given Sunday Al Pacino style speech I could give you, but it was short and sweet. Glenn said, "Brandon, quit being an F-wit." And, I was like, hey, you know what? I have been an F-wit, and I just, pulled my head in. So, yeah, thanks, Glenn.
A bit of a sideways veer, but who's the first person you think of when you hear the word successful?
Tim Ferriss.
Why is that?
Because I've always related to the guy. Generally, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. And for as long as I can remember, other than gymnastics, I would try every single sport, get half decent at it, and then quit because I get bored. Because I didn't feel the challenge was there. And I just love his outlook to try and find the master in everything and learn from that person. And that's exactly what I've done in life, sport, and business.
Yeah, like the thing that I associate most with him is finding the minimum effective dose. That's kind of what I do. It's what I do in my membership site. It's what I do for my own training. And like, that's, it's almost the mastery of being the non-master. It's pretty cool.
Oh, spot on, man. Spot on.
Yeah. So you finished gymnastics in a not particularly ideal way.
Yeah. So I went to the States. I competed in gymnastics. We ended up, to my luck, everyone else fell over. So I ended up winning, which was awesome. But I ended up spending about 5 months in the States because I just thought I really needed some time to get away. So I just, from LA, just made my way across to Tennessee, couch surfed, met new people, partied a lot, drank a lot. And, within the week of coming back to Australia, I was like, yep, okay, maybe I want to work for the Commonwealth Games, or maybe I really want to work for something big. So the first time my hands touched the high bar, I busted out my old routine, and I'm like, oh my god, this is pretty cool. I reckon I can do this. And I chucked a disc out, which I've never done in my entire life, but my ego was pretty supportive in that endeavor. And I hit my head on the high bar and followed it up in the same rotation. I hit my ankle. And I ended up coming to in the foam pit, and all I could see was just blood and a bunch of ruined foam cubes, and everyone standing around. They're just like, dude, how is your head? How is your head? Because apparently it was just, just like the elevator scene in The Shining, just blood flowing out. But I wasn't thinking about my head at all because my ankle was on fire, and I ended up breaking it in 5 places. And, to put it in perspective, I hit the top of my foot, and I broke my heel in doing so.
That's a strong effort.
Yeah, I did well. So I dusted it essentially, and that left me 5 months in a moon boot, and kind of that was for me was the wake up call that maybe gymnastics and doing things like that wasn't my deal.
What was the move that you're attempting, or the movement? Sorry.
It was a double back salt over the bar.
Okay.
So to put it in perspective, say you're hanging on a bar, just hanging, and you're looking directly forward, I would be landing behind you. Yeah.
I'll leave that one to you. It's a good.
I'll leave that to someone else because I didn't make it work.
I like the way that was the first thing you tried as well.
Oh, dude, I mean, there were chicks watching and everything. I mean, it was really a great insight to my own ego and really starting to take a closer look into that thing because it didn't really do me many favors back in the day.
I bet. What happened in the immediate aftermath of that?
I experienced my first ever bouts of depression, which was very insightful, you could say. I ended up, so in the moon boot, I was in crutches for about 2 months, and then I was in the moon boot for 3, and yeah, I mean, I pretty much, spent most of my life swinging on my hands and, jumping off things and doing flips and tricks and all that good stuff, and I just felt useless. It was the only thing I knew at the time. I didn't know I had any skills in anything else. So I was like, no shit, what do I do now?
And like, was there anyone there in that time reaching out to help you in particular?
No. You know what? There probably was, but back then I had a lone wolf mentality. I kind of felt, because I spent most of my life being ostracized and kind of outside of the pack, you know, like, I never had a friend group at school. Like, I had, like, people I was friendly with, but I never actually had a group of people that I'd call my friends. Like, I wasn't invited to parties. I wasn't invited to go surf or do anything like that, you know, and you know, I totally take responsibility. I put myself there, with my antics. But yeah, I don't know. I had this mentality that if I wanted something, I had to get it myself. So, I mean, I wasn't thinking about keeping anyone close around me. So that's really what I did, was just separate myself and distance myself from those people.
Okay. And then how do you think, or what was the process of kind of getting out of that bout of depression?
Getting out of it, I just sucked my head into studies. So I went and signed up to study my advanced diploma. Well, actually, it was just to do remedial massage. So I put in a year full time into that. And because I wanted to go to the States and study chiropractic, I thought that would be a good route to follow. And so I did the massage. I thought that'd be handy. Ended up going to the States, checking out Dallas, setting up an apartment, enrolling into the college. And at that time, my chiropractor had become a mentor of mine, actually quite a close friend. And unfortunately, he passed away. And I didn't have the mental stability at that time to kind of, you know, fathom loss, you know, losing someone. Because I hadn't really lost anyone directly in my life to understand how to handle grief. And, you know, I just kind of dropped the ball with the whole idea of chiropractic and just started doing massages, which was kind of a blessing in disguise because I was very fortunate to have quite a successful career in remedial massage, and, you know, worked with a couple of UFC fighters. I ended up working with a couple kind of high-level athletes, and yeah, it was, I mean, that was kind of great to lead me. That's what exposed me to the health and wellness industry, basically.
And what in particular did your mentor give you at that point?
He gave me the confidence to take kind of big steps and leaps when, you know, the perfectionist in my mind was always trying to plan every step and make sure there was a Word document for every maneuver. Where he was just kind of telling me, like, just trust the gut, you know, take the step, make the phone call, do what's necessary. And it was a really good insight into, you know, just putting up or shutting up, you know, walk the walk or just keep talking and never get any shit done.
Yeah. And then what kind of happened after that kind of introduction to not only being a chiropractor but remedial massage too?
So what that did, I started growing my business, the Results Clinic, and we started getting some really good traction with that. I started realizing that I had a real passion for teaching people how to take care of themselves. You know, I had people checking in every week for me to fix them, and I started discovering, hey, well, you know what, if you want to see me less and save some money, let me show you some exercises that you can do at home and, you know, save yourself the trouble of having to come see me all the time. And I was like, you know what, hey, I might want to teach. So I ended up going to a college and getting a job and ended up teaching the subject for a while as I still continued to advance my studies and started getting, you know, some advanced diplomas and yeah, just basically I was kind of preparing my mind for gaining as much knowledge as possible so that anyone who questioned my knowledge would just get curb stomped with my brain power.
How old were you at that point?
This is last year.
Okay. That's a pretty...
I was 22.
That's pretty impressive to get to a point where you're teaching other people how like such a complex subject at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, some would call it the chimp, but the ego in me was loving telling, you know, old people what to do. I mean, I love my classes. I love everyone that's come through. It was one of the greatest experiences. I respect every single one of them. But yeah, having 40-year-olds stand up to you and saying, you know, this is the way the world is, and it's like, well, yeah, buddy, but I know the subject content and you don't, so unless you want to learn this and pass, you better sit down.
So I think you've spent a lot of time, in your words, battling ego. What's been the most effective way of combating that? And has there been any kind of big takeaway lessons?
Eckhart Tolle has been a big one for me. Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. That was a big game changer. Really understanding the ego. And some people will make an argument that there's good ego and bad ego. I'm under the firm belief that there's only bad ego.
Okay.
Because, you know, confidence is internal. Arrogance is external. And I was showing a lot of arrogance. And in my mind, I was always preparing for a battle that was never going to come. And the whole, like, beating my chest and really, you know, caring what other people thought about me, I really discovered that boiled down to my entire history of growing up with insecurities.
Yeah.
And when I lost gymnastics, it's like I had an identity crisis. So I was trying to put myself up to be this person, but really I was just being a grade A douche. And, you know, to answer your question, Tom, the real aha moments for me were just all those events of getting severely humbled, like really getting put in my place. And I'm so thankful for every single person that stood up to me and did that.
So, well, firstly, a book recommendation, was it Ego's the Enemy by Ryan Holiday? That's very good. But on another point, was there anyone in particular who stood up to you in, like, as you just said, or any event that particularly stands out?
I'd say the event that stood out the most is I'm a part of an organization called the Mankind Project.
Mm-hmm.
And the aim of this organization, it's a non-profit, but it helps any and all men, just men, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, Muslim, Jew, agnostic, atheist, it doesn't matter. The organization, the people do not discriminate. It's about helping men really understand their shadow behaviors and those little voices in the back of your mind that really, you know, allow you to lapse judgment and make silly decisions. And it helps men really recognize the moments in their lives where these patterns could have really come about. And, you know, for a person like me who thought I had all the answers, man, two big things. I'm by oath not allowed to say what happened on the weekend because there's no way to sum it up because no experience is the same for any person. So there's no real way to give it justice. But to see and learn from other men's experiences and to realize that, God, I have it so good. I have it so good. You know, I'm so lucky and blessed to live the life I've lived. You know, that victim mentality that was so apparent in all of my thoughts and actions was really unjust and unjustified. And, you know, to meet men that have gone through some real issues, and we're talking about guys that are like, you know, just absolute brick walls, like you wouldn't get blood out of them if you tried. These are guys that eventually opened up and just showed you their soul and showed you their vulnerability and were able to really identify those key moments where, you know, those shadow behaviors became, you know, real ingrained in their minds. And man, what a humbling experience. I really can't explain it. It was just remarkable.
So why do you think that people don't show vulnerability and don't show them their true selves?
I believe most people are just scared of getting hurt.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
I think, you know, if society does anything, it really tries to dictate what's right and what's wrong, and the wrong people are wielding that stick to tell you what is right and what is wrong. You know, there is no right and wrong. There's only what's right to you and what's wrong to you. And, you know, for example, someone that might be born with, you know, the biology or DNA that makes them, you know, maybe a bit different, look a little bit different, think a little bit differently, whether it's mental illness, whether it's, a chemical imbalance, society tells them that everything they do, say, think, feel, believe is wrong. And what that does, that pins people into corners where they start to believe themselves that everything they do, say, think, believe, feel is wrong. And a lot of people are so defensive because, especially when their beliefs are challenged and when their thoughts are challenged, it's only natural to react versus respond. And, I think, especially in Australian culture, to be weak is really shameful because, in Australia, mate, you're a man, you don't talk about your feelings, you don't show your weaknesses, you gotta be a bloke. Someone does something really good for themselves, it's like, okay, what makes them better than me? This bullshit tall poppy syndrome thing, it's a real issue here, is making these, instances so common.
Where do you see that often in Oz?
Having travelled around the world a bit, I don't think it's just Australia. I think it's quite common, all over the world. Where do I see that often? I see it often in mainly people that are just kind of coming of age. People that generally haven't quite discovered what it is they want to do, who they are as a human being, the type of people they want to surround themselves with. It's a guessing game. So people are kind of stabbing in the dark, or, they're throwing a dart while closing their eyes, just hoping the needle lands on the board, and wherever it is, wherever it lands, they just tend to lead in that direction, rather than get out of their comfort zone, become more authentic, become more honest, and discover, exactly what it is, the place that they need to be.
So after remedial massage, or teaching it, what was the next step after that?
So the next step after that was basically getting into the fitness industry. I discovered that more people were getting better therapeutic benefits from exercise than any forms of hands-on therapy. I'm talking needling, taping, massage, manipulations, all of that. People were getting better results in exercise. So naturally, I kind of led in that direction. And I was like, okay, well, if that's where the results are, I'm going to go there. And, started personal training. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend that I'm some business guru because I'm not. But back then, I knew nothing, absolutely nothing about running a business. So there was a solid, year there where, I had clients, they saw the benefits, but none of them were really sticking around.
Why do you think that was?
I definitely had a lot to do with limiting beliefs.
On your half or theirs?
Mine. Definitely on mine. There was a glass ceiling, that was, there, I just couldn't see it.
Okay. And then how did that business change, and how did that correlate to what was happening in your life?
I think the real breakthrough for me, and I got to take a little bit of a back step. That year, 2015 for me, was hands down probably one of the best years of my life. I have never gone through so many trials and tribulations and triumphs in one period of time. It was an absolute ringer. I had the breakdown of a relationship that I just was totally passionate about and putting all my energy into. I was, at that time, I was preparing myself for a fitness modeling competition, so I was cutting a ton of weight, limiting my brain from glucose and not thinking straight. My dog was battling an illness after, getting poisoned, so he was in and out of emergency and, not able to walk, so I had to clean him every morning. I had, my advanced diploma was finishing up, so I was doing 30 hours of practical each week and having to deal with people and treat people and physically put my body into that. And, all of that was kind of coming to a head, and that was my second instance of depression, but what made that so tough was I couldn't think logically. I wouldn't say or do things logically because I felt so helpless. Everything I was trying to do, everything I was trying to fix was just getting thrown back in my face and just telling me constantly, like, you're useless, Brandon. Why do you even try? And I was really beginning to believe that dialogue. And that was obviously affecting my personal training business. My therapy business was going down the gurgler. And, I was really kind of lost as what to do at that time. So the reason I'm getting into this was, I wasn't having any wins. There were no wins in the win column because I was just getting beaten down all the time. Now, whether that was self-imposed, just victim mentality, I'd say that's a pretty strong variable. But man, it was a difficult time.
And what was the process like getting out of it? And like, how do you think you got to the kind of the positive place that you are now?
Well, I went into the reason I went into the fitness modeling competition was, I wasn't doing anything constructive at that time that was really getting any traction. So I thought, okay, I need to do something that's within my control. And one thing I can control is the food that goes in my mouth and the weights that I pick up and put down. So really, I was just looking for something to boost my self-esteem because I was feeling pretty small. So I enrolled in a fitness modeling competition, and over a 5-month period, I lost a ton of weight. I was your typical fat PT, and I lost a ton of weight and ended up going on stage the week I broke up with my girlfriend. And I had no expectations, I had no hopes. I was just happy to be there, and entered in 2 divisions and won both. I came second in both.
Nice. What was your training like leading up to that point?
Intense.
Mm-hmm.
I was going into the gym with the mentality of seriously doing myself harm because I wanted to. I felt like I almost deserved it. So, I was going into the gym and just lifting as heavy as I could and doing as much work as I could, to get that desired result.
Do you think hardship is necessary for success?
No, I don't believe it's necessary, but I do believe it's an amazing learning experience.
Okay, why is that?
At your lowest point, you really get to know who you are as a human being, because at that point you're stripped bare. Like, you are essentially naked when you are sitting at that real low place in your life. And it's a really great time to get to know that naked person. It's a really great time to get to know who you are at your core. And that's when I discovered, sitting in that place was like, what, I'm not a bad guy. I don't want to battle people. I don't want to be in these, these bouts of conflict all the time. I just want to help people. And it was an amazing experience, because then to build from that point, I felt like my slate was clean and my foundations were solid.
Okay. That makes sense. What would your current self have told your, let's say, 18-year-old self?
Go make friends. Be social. Go meet people. Try and pick up girls. Fall on your face. Make mistakes. Surround yourself with people that are severely better than you at everything. And enjoy the journey. Don't put so much freaking pressure on yourself. Just enjoy every step. Open your eyes. Smell the fresh air. Enjoy being 18. And don't create this unrealistic image of what you should be in your head. Ditch that. Be 18 and just enjoy it.
What ways have you gone out, or how have you gone out of your way to get out of your comfort zone recently?
Basically put myself in situations that I don't believe I'm equipped to handle. So what I mean by that is to go out and say, for example, I spoke to Doug Larson, yesterday. He's one of the guys from the Barbell Shrugged podcast and Barbell Business. And, just reaching out to him, I was able to chat with him, and it was, man, like, oh my gosh, I was fangirling hard. It was Beatlemania in my eyes. And it was just just a beautiful opportunity to speak with someone that I revere so highly. Reaching out to yourself, or going out to, going out to a bar and just going and chatting to that, that girl who seems unattainable, or, going to that networking event that isn't even specific to your industry and still being able to shoot the shit and hold a conversation.
Yeah. And you've mentioned a few times surrounding yourself with people who are better than you in certain areas. How are you doing that at the moment?
Investing pretty much most of the money I make into education.
Okay. In what particular areas?
Generally around health and fitness, but in more ways than one, in mindset. So I'm looking for, at the moment, I'm just constantly looking for thought leaders in their industries. I want to know how they tick. I'm really, really, really interested in how people's minds work. And, this could be very much in the pursuit of understanding how my brain works. But I just love hearing success stories. I love hearing, the efforts that people have gone to achieve what they've achieved. And, to really, be able to get the opportunity to get a close look into someone's soul and then look under their skin. Man, what an honor.
Is there a particular example of a success story like that that resonates with you?
I'd say Gary Vaynerchuk.
And why is that?
I just love his attitude. Now, I don't share the same DNA as that guy, but I just love how, if he's winning, in his mind, he's losing.
Yeah.
He started Wine Library TV, and it ended up becoming, at the start of YouTube. We're talking about the inception of YouTube. He was posting videos that were getting like 13 views, and before you know it, he was the leading authority in wine. And the second he became the leading authority in wine, he was like, this is boring. Left it in more capable hands, and then found the next thing. And I just love his, his just attitude towards, hard work. See, I don't necessarily agree with everything, Gary V says, but, I believe for the most part there's a lot to that guy that people don't see, and I'm sure he takes the downtime. I'm sure he, relaxes and spends time with his family and his kids. Like, I'm sure he's doing that because, the guy works his tail off, but he keeps going and he keeps doing it, and I know for a fact, unless you take that downtime, that doesn't last. So, I'm sure he's a lot more intuitive to that than people put out for him.
Yeah. So Gary is obviously someone who doesn't prioritize sleep in some ways. You've mentioned a few times that you don't, or like you sometimes maybe not respect sleep as much as you could. How much sleep a night are you getting?
Actually these days I'm getting between 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Which for me is big because I was getting like 3 to 4 most nights.
Yeah. So how did that change, and what was the instigator of that?
Burnout. I definitely felt the quality of my sessions with my team were really being affected by it. And basically throughout the day, I mean, for all you personal trainers out there, you understand that your morning starts at 4:30 before the sun rises. You get up, you train your morning clients, and guess what? You've got 2-3 hours to play with yourself for 3 hours. And next thing you know, it's like lunchtime clients. You have a couple there, and then you got 4 hours to touch yourself again, and then boom, you're back. You're in the afternoon, and you're working till 7 or 8. You get home, you have dinner, and what in my case, prior to this awakening, because I'd be on social media looking at stupid, completely irrelevant things. But nowadays, I know the time of day that my head is for. I know what time I wake up. It's far more organized, and I'm so much better off for it.
Yeah. Have you tried polyphasic sleeping or anything like that? So more than one phase of sleep?
That sounds like a Pokemon.
It is. No, honestly, it's a really cool way. Like, if you not struggle to get enough sleep in, but like if you're going throughout, like if you have, like, for example, personal trainers who are up very early, like to bed very late, it's a good way to get in as much time as you can, or as much REM sleep as you can. It's something to check out.
Okay, rapid eye movement sleep.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Nice. I'll do my research on that one. So wait, explain that one a little bit to me.
So polyphasic sleep is, it just means more than one phase, and you, like, what basically makes you feel good, or the correlation between feeling good from sleep, feeling rested, and not, is the amount of time that you spend in REM sleep. So the more time you spend in REM, the better you feel, generally. So you can trick your body into getting into REM quicker and for longer, through a few kind of sleep hacks, if you will.
You know what? I think the one thing that makes sense to me because, I do a bit of Wim Hof these days, a bit of breath and meditation work. And every time I do Wim Hof before bed, man, you could punch me in the face and I would not wake up.
How did you get into the Wim Hof stuff? Because I'm a massive fan of it. I love it. How did you get into it?
How did I get into Wim Hof? It was exposed to me when I was in the States. A guy by the name of Tom something. Sorry, Tom. He exposed me to it. So I went to train with this guy. He had an outdoor rig, kind of CrossFit rig, and this is midwinter in Tennessee. So we're waking up and it's snowing and it's raining. The sun hasn't come up and we're slinging some lead. But every time we got there, I thought he was sleeping, like on the concrete. But I found out he was doing Wim Hof, and he said, look, if you're really interested in it, I'd love to show you it. So. And, my dad was doing it with me at the time, so I tried it out, and man, it's some trippy stuff. Like, I'm not a very, airy-fairy kind of person, but man, I went on journeys doing that stuff.
In what way?
God, just your mind, like, just wanders. I mean, you'll know this doing Wim Hof. Do you know how, when you forget that you've inhaled or exhaled?
Yep. Yeah. It's like, shit, what, do I breathe in or out now? I don't know.
Yeah, which phase are you in? I mean, I think at my best, I was holding my breath for 2 minutes 50, and that was on a complete exhale.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, the first few times I did it, I would just be panicking the whole time, and like it'd probably be like only like an 8-9 minute session, but there'd be like 4 or 5 breath holds or 4 or 5 revolutions, and now I go for like 20, 25, sometimes even 30 minutes, and it's like maybe the same amount of breath holds, 4 or 5.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts how long you can do it, and yeah, you totally forget, like you drift. I remember one morning, because in summer we do Wim Hof before we work out on the beach, before we do our beach camps. So we meet on the beach. Just before the sun comes up, you hit the Wim Hof, and by the time you're done, the sun's up. It's just beautiful. But when I was doing it one morning down there on my own, and man, I was just so in tune with everything going on. Like I could hear the fins of a guy's surfboard cutting through the wave, like clearly. And apparently, a friend of mine was walking my dog at the time. Apparently, another person's dog came up, licked my face, like we're talking like proper tongue and mouth, licked my face, and then jumped off my chest, and I didn't have a clue except for the fact my nose smelled like chum.
Not for the first time.
That's another time. When we let's talk about that when we finish this podcast.
So, like, I honestly love it. I think it's like a key into the deepest meditation that you could have. It's a phenomenal method. Did you do any meditation before that?
No. I thought meditation was stupid.
Okay.
And I love it now.
Yeah.
Let me make that clear. I love meditation. If I go a day without meditation and I'm out of Zen, don't fuck with me.
Yeah, it's astonishing. Like, the difference between when I do and when I don't is huge. Like, sometimes, for example, at the weekends I'll go and stay with my girlfriend, and it will be like I'll get kicked out of my natural routine, and also she thinks I'm a freak when I sit there like hyperventilating for 20 minutes, which is fair enough. But yeah, so like occasionally I miss a day, and it's like weird as fuck when you come back to it. It's just like, I remember what it's meant to feel like. I remember what life's supposed to feel like now.
Routine, man. Hey, and the worst thing is when you got a lifesaver coming over and like opening your mouth, listening for like,
yeah, I'm not
okay?
breathing.
Can you see me? What's your name?
So now you're running Zone, and how does that start, and where is it now?
Like I said before, I came second in the Australian Musclemania fitness modeling kind of competition, and what that did, that opened up the ability to go to Vegas and represent Australia at the international event, and this is all like so new to me. I initially thought getting up on stage in the big togs was, not my gig, but it was kind of fun, and I met some really amazing down to earth people, so I'm like, yeah, screw it, I'm going to Vegas. Like, I've just gotten over breakup. I need to go there and just have some fun. So, 2 months more of training and diet, and ended up going to Vegas, again, with absolutely zero hope, because now I'm looking at like, and Tom, I'm a heterosexual man. But God, I was man crushing this. These are like Adonises, and I'm sitting here going, all 5'7" of me going, well, it was fun while it lasted. And, to my surprise, I came third, I think, out of 18.
That's amazing. Good work.
So, I didn't see that happening. And so, I mean, to answer your question, up on stage, what came to my mind instantly is I reflected on that entire year. This was November and in 2015, and I just reflected on that entire year, and I was going, how on earth am I feeling this right now? Do I deserve this? Like, this euphoria is just so strange and so new, and what came to my mind was like, God, more people need to experience this feeling. It's a crime if someone doesn't get to feel this in their lifetime. So, on the plane back from LA to Brisbane, I didn't sleep the entire time because I asked the flight attendant for a napkin, and I started to draw out basically the framework for what Zone was to be today, because I wanted to create a vessel in which your everyday Joe can experience a win, put some ticks in the win column, because as you know, Tom, most people that sign up to a gym or fitness program, they're not doing it to get fit.
Exactly.
They're not doing it to get abs. There is, hands down, 99.9% of the time, an underlying reason why they're there. Whether it's, their marriage is falling apart, whether it's, that they, want to feel attractive so they can get back out in the dating scene, or whether it's just a case like me where they just want to build their self-esteem. They're there for a reason. So I wanted to create a community where I could, allow them to feel comfortable and safe enough to pull back that skin, to show their vulnerability, and really identify the core of what it is that they're looking to achieve. Because when I know that, I can then help them take the active steps to achieve that. It's not just about, broccoli, chicken, protein, no, it's not about that at all. I talk about in my teachings the triad of transformation and body transformation. You've got diet, you've got exercise, and you've got mindset. If you can imagine a pyramid, you want all three corners of that to be even. Okay, because if you even have one of those lacking, that pyramid is way too lean and the stability is not there. You need to address every single one of those three. So I teach people to leverage their emotion, to leverage that desire to change, to go from that sad place to that happy place. I make it crystal clear what those things are to them so that they know how to actively take the steps towards that, making that win happen. And man, we just laugh and celebrate the wins the entire way. Like, it is, God, man, I may not get, the world's greatest amount of sleep, but I guarantee you I wake up every morning just thanking the universe for the opportunity I have every day to help people make these breakthroughs.
What's the biggest breakthrough that you've had with someone that you can share?
Now, it must be known, I have this person's permission to share the story, and I will not mention names, but this gentleman came up from, I'm not going to give you the backstory because there may be some people that hear this, and I just want to make sure that he's 100%, but a person came from out of town, came to the coast, didn't know anyone, just basically left their old life, everything, dog, friends, family, just had to escape. Came to the coast, and one of the first things he thought of was to join a fitness program because he wanted to get in shape, maybe build up the self-esteem and things like that. Calls me on the phone. I find out that he doesn't, he's coming to the coast, doesn't know anyone, and I'm like, oh man, do we have the environment for you? And he comes in, and initially it wasn't a sale because, my program, it's not the cheapest program, but I'll be damned, it gives you the most value of anything I've ever seen. And before I got to show him that, it was a no. So I said to him, hey man, why don't you just train with us tonight? We're about to start a session, train. He ends up doing the session, and by the end of it, he's like, man, I'm in. So he makes the commitment. Now, a couple weeks in, this guy had some amazing results. He came up to the coast, doesn't drive, so I took him down to our dietitian, to get his diet plan done. And as we were driving back, we stopped at the lights, and he goes, Brandon, I want to tell you something. He goes, I've never told you this, but I've come up to the Gold Coast with a drug and alcohol problem. And I was like, whoa, we didn't uncover this in the consult. And I'm like, oh, this is huge. And he said, I just want to let you know that Zone and you have been a massive catalyst in me being clean this entire time. And man, I just broke down into tears. I was just like a baby because, and we hugged, and it was just, oh man, what a beautiful moment. And that was one of my first real insights that I was like, man, I'm doing the right stuff here. Because only a year ago, my main motivation was to get into a fight and prove how, smart I was, when it's just a total shift now. Because I know me now. I know what I want to do. The only person I need to prove anything to is myself. And now that we have this vessel in Zone to allow people to find these breakthroughs, big or small, for that person, it's generally a really big deal. And, oh man, I got goosebumps, man. I just love this work. And look, whether it's in fitness or not, like my future, it's going to be there's going to be some form of faction where I'm able to allow people to make these breakthroughs, be it fitness or not. And, man, it's just, I thank my lucky stars every day.
That's a brilliant story. It's so nice when you get the chance to do that to someone's life. It reminds me of that old adage about, instead of trying to knock if you're trying to get the tallest tower in town, like instead of trying to knock other people's down, just build your own up. And I think that's what you've done there.
Man, that's a great one. I've never heard that one. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are in the tower knocking down space. I think you were talking about it on another podcast about, like personal trainers, for example, attacking others and and others' beliefs. But when you start building your own up, you just stand that. Not only you take the moral high ground, but you're in a better place as well.
Big time. I mean, before you start critiquing someone else's dirty closet, clean yours first.
Exactly. Exactly.
Earn the right to form some form of opinion, but hey, asshole, keep that opinion to yourself unless it's requested. I think to boil it down simply, it's just don't be a dick and just be a nice person. There's enough assholes in this world. Just God, find the place in your heart that wants to do good, and man, turn that dial up to 11 if I'm to quote Spinal Tap.
What's something you believe that others find or might find controversial?
What do I believe that others might find controversial? That you have to spend money to make money. Some people just don't seem to grasp that. I certainly never did. But every terrifying investment I've ever made has either come out with an amazing return or an amazing lesson. And people need to understand that, if you want to find quality and if you want to learn from the best and experience the best, man, you gotta be willing to put it up. Because, nothing's going to come to you for free.
Yeah.
And people really challenge that. They really try and challenge that. Well, I can get this for free. And then you generally, you see those things fizzle out. I mean, I can make this real in my own kind of situation. I've invested in programs that are upwards of $7,000, for like 8 weeks. And they've been some of the best investments I ever made. Someone gave me a program. It's like a vocal program to improve the way that you communicate and talk and use volume and speak from your belly and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy spent probably $1,500 on it, and he gave it to me to use. I never touched it.
Yeah.
Never touched because I didn't have the vested interest in it. So yeah, I'd say that's one. You gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, I think investing the money is a huge thing people are scared of, and people are also scared of investing the time and the effort and the energy into being where they want to be, which is like. But I think the thing with investing money is that if you invest the money, you don't have to invest as much time or effort. It's kind of it's a shortcut to get into the world of a successful person.
In a sense, I mean, there's no short list of hard work that goes into those decisions. But opening those doors, you'd be amazed at just the people you meet. Like, Tom, I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for those investments.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't have the opportunity to communicate with you right now if I didn't make those investments. And you know what? Like, I used my house savings, for that stuff. But God, it's come back in dividends. And, you're spot on. It literally does fast track your success.
Exactly. Like, that's exactly it. And I think that's, like, the biggest thing I've taken from any of my like coaching experiences is very rarely what you actually learn from the coach. It's the network you get into. It's the friends you make. And I've progressed more by having conversations with other people in my situation who are trying to achieve a very similar thing than I have with the coach on most occasions. And like, that's exactly why I'm launching my membership site for this, because like, I want that group mentality to come through.
Dude, you have to launch that membership site, because you're spot on. That is the best way that people are going to really fast track their success. I mean, dude, I met you earlier this year in Scunthorpe.
Delightful Scunthorpe.
I mean, Skune. Like, I mean, of all places to meet, someone who I believe like a caliber, a person like yourself, was in Scunthorpe. And that was, in a group of individuals called Influence Society, and just some of the sharpest minds you'll ever meet, all kind of around our age. And just guys that, all agree, we don't know everything. So let's stick together and help each other.
And that's
let's put our brain power together and share our vulnerabilities and share our stories and learn from that. And man, like, what an amazing group of lads. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I met you. So yeah, really cool stuff.
The community is the number one way. So yeah, I'm mega excited for I think I'm going to call it the Alpha Movement Academy. I think that's going to be released very, very soon. But yeah.
Ooh, APA, I love that.
Yeah. Nice.
Wait, no, AMA.
Yeah. Or AMPA or something. Or like, I don't know. We won't do acronyms. So, the last question I want to ask you is, what's your best or most recent purchase that's cost £100 or less that's most positively impacted your life?
The best self journal.
Nice. And we've already done that. That's an excellent place to kind of finish up. Where can people find a bit more about you?
Awesome. So people can find me at just Brandon Clift on Facebook. Feel free to give me a shout out. Just make sure you message me and let me know how you heard about me. Also, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me under my business name, Zone Transformation Specialist, or you can find me under Brandon Clift. Now, guys, I am doing a daily video series called In the Zone 365. I am posting a 1-minute video every day where I answer your questions in 1 minute or less. That can be fitness related, relationship related, sex related, doesn't matter. Nothing's off limits. I will promise you, if you send in the question, I will answer it, and I release those every day. So if you follow In the Zone 365, you will be getting those videos from about a week from now. They will be launching, and I guarantee you there'll be one every day for 365 days.
Excellent. I am 100% trolling you with some very dodgy questions.
Oh man, send me the dodgiest question. I answered. I think we're up to episode 14 today, and I answered one. It was a blast. They're like, did you see a rapid increase in your sexual capabilities when you found your fitness really hit that top level? And that was the shortest one out of all of them, because it was just yes. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me today. So yeah, guys, honestly, send those questions in. Nothing is off limits, and I promise you I will answer them.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for jumping on the show. I really appreciate it. And speak to you soon.
Right, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Alpha Movement podcast. So I let something slip in that podcast, which was the news of the Alpha Movement Academy. This is something I've been so excited to let loose to the world that I obviously didn't do a very good job of keeping it secret. Now, I'm not going to explain exactly what it is right this moment, but I will say that it's going to be exclusive access and live streaming of the podcast. It's going to be like monthly training, webinars, guest webinars. Like, there's so much that's going to be included in this, and there's a huge offer going out for the first few people in there. So if you head over to alphamovement.co/academy news, you'll find a secret page on my website that's not linked to anywhere else. And from that, you'll be able to jump in a group where I'm going to keep you updated and kind of informed about the news of the Alpha Movement Academy. So I definitely suggest doing that, because, like, honestly, I'm so excited to get this out. It is going to be freaking awesome. So I'll see you guys there. And if you want to find out more about the Alpha Movement in general, you can head to alphamovement.co, facebook.com/alphamovementofficial, or you can find myself, Tom Foxley, all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those kind of places. And I'll see you guys there.